good afternoon, and welcome to Southern Santa Piper. I'm your host, Kenny, and today we are going to be discussing a subject which is kind of dear to me because I love this tobacco, and because I think many of y'all have been searching for a replacement for Frog Morton. Now, I'm probably not going to be the only guy to have told you this, but in my humble opinion, just mine, Northwoods by Boswell. And yes, I like it this much that I buy it in quantity. Northwoods by Boswell is the closest I have found to Frog Morton. This is all I've got left of the Frog. And I'm not saying I won't try to hunt down some more jars, but this is it. Now, tin note is heavenly. This particular tin was from 2017. And I don't know if you all can see it. It is just a lovely blend of darkened Virginias, Latakia. It is not overly campfire, not especially with this age. The Latakias have mellowed. But there is a certain creaminess and mouthfeel that Frog Morton, I think that is why so many of us love Frog Morton. Now, that being said, let's take a look at some Northwoods. Now, Northwoods, and we can argue till we're blue in the face, which I'm not going to do because I got enough blue on. But we can argue till we're blue in the face that just because the tobacco doesn't look the same, or because it does look the same, that it's not going to taste the same. And I agree with that. There is nothing that says any tobaccos that look even close are going to taste even close. God knows, when I was growing up, the majority of the tobaccos I had seen in most of the tobacco shops was various combinations of browns and tans, and all the English blends looked the same. A lot of the aromatics did, unless you were buying Black Cavendish or some other kind of more black tobacco. It was generally combinations of lots of browns. So just because these are both primarily black tobaccos, and I know we're looking through two different medias, and one kind of a canister and the other just a regular old ball mason jar, but yet their qualities are similar. Their tin notes, let me compare them for you. Now, just off the bat, one of the biggest differences I'm smelling in this as compared to the Frog Morton, and some of this is age. Once this ages, it's going to be a different tobacco. But I'm smelling a lot of the sweetness from the Virginias. I'm smelling hay. I'm smelling a slight topping on this that they claim there's no topping on this or Frog Morton. But I would dare say it's almost like a light vanilla liqueur. There are some people who do not like Northwoods because they consider it too much of an aromatic. I don't consider it aromatic at all. I barely would even consider it a hybrid. I really don't like using the term myself, aromatic English, even though one of my favorite tobaccos is by Sutliff, and it is aromatic English. I prefer Latakia mix. A lot of people prefer that because, let's face the facts, Virginia's going to have no toppings. So if there's any toppings, not Virginia, I'm sorry, English blends should have no toppings. If they do have toppings, I don't like calling them an English blend. I simply like calling them a Latakia blend. And I think a Latakia mixture covers a lot of bases, from English to Balkan blends to aromatics that have Latakia added to them. But back to, is this close enough? Is this a good enough tobacco? Well, I've got loaded up in this Dunhill pot right now. I've got some of the Northwoods. No fancy tool today, just the check tool. Nice creamy mouthfeel. The Latakia, because of the Cavendishes, and I believe the Stolid Virginias in here, are sweet. And for me, it's literally the perfect smoke. I could sit out on my porch all day smoking this. And as Matches 860 used to say, have that ultimate smoke. Sit out there in the nice weather, listening to the birds and my other critters out there, and just relaxing with one of the most tasty tobaccos you can buy. And price point wise, it's kind of right in the middle. It's not a super expensive tobacco. It's not an inexpensive tobacco. My most inexpensive tobaccos I usually buy, if I buy them in quantity, are under $2 a pound or $2 an ounce sometimes. Many of the tobaccos have higher that way. This, it works out to be about $5 or maybe a little over per ounce. I think there's a price break when you buy more of it, but it's just a killer tobacco. Now, Frog Morton. When we go back to the tin note on this, we're no longer noticing that hay, at least I'm not. And I consider myself to have a pretty good nose. My wife's over there and she would tell you I've got a really good nose. I can smell things that I think she thinks I've got a bionic nose, probably from my bad vision. But I'm not getting that hay smell. I'm getting a sweetness of almost a sweet liqueur. A hint of maybe vanilla and cocoa. Molasses. Maybe some dark fruit. Plum, cherry maybe. But you don't taste those toppings. This is simply the tin note I'm getting. And as maybe some of you newer pipe smokers don't know, tin note has nothing to do with how it smokes. Tin note is tin note. I usually say there are 3 qualities that I'm looking for in a tobacco. I want a good tin note. Now, that being said, there's some tobaccos I smoke that don't have a great tin note, and it is what it is. Some of the Oriental blends, to me, are just too sour, but I like a good tin note. And I think a good English blend should have a good tin note as well as a good aromatic blend. Besides a good tin note, I want a good mouthfeel. I want it, when I'm inhaling a tobacco, I want a mouthfeel that is creamy, is full of flavor. I don't want to taste like burning ash. I don't want to taste, for me, I don't want to taste anything that tastes like a cigarette. Perfect. Again, in this particular pipe, in this Dunhill, was the Northwoods. Now, for sake comparisons, and I know I should have probably, right behind me I've got some of my pipes, and up there I've got 2 identical merchant service pipes, even the same color. I should have taken the 2 identical Bings and used it, because I know many of y'all are going to say, well, you cannot compare the tobaccos if they are smoked from a different pipes, and you got a valid point. But it's not like I haven't smoked these tobaccos out of these pipes. I have smoked these tobaccos out of my Bings a lot, and the flavor is about the same out of these. Really, Just delicious. You cannot go wrong with either one of these tobaccos. For me, it is all about affordability and how easy you can find this tobacco. Frog Morton isn't easy to find anymore. It's been off the market for a few years. And yeah, there are several Facebook resale groups and others where people release it, but last time I seen it, it was at least $1 a gram. So you're usually looking $50 for a standard size tin, $100 for a larger tin. For a lot of guys, that's a lot of money in tobacco. You can buy all of this, okay, all of this for less money than this. To me, it's a no-brainer. If taste is that close, now taste is subjective, but taste is close. And that's one of the reasons I even looked at Northwoods. When I first heard of Northwoods, I never had it before. I mean, let's face the fact, Boswell may be big within certain members of the pipe smoking community, but I never heard of it. I'm originally from Chicago. I've been in Florida for 20 years. I never heard of Boswell till I started joining some of the pipe forums and pipe groups on Facebook, and I heard it mentioned a lot, so I had to try it. Once I tried it, I was hooked. It was like, this is a fantastic tobacco. Frog Morton I remember from years ago, and while I had liked it back then, I was never much of an English pipe smoker. I've said this in my other videos. I started off primarily as an aromatic pipe smoker. I like vanilla blends, chocolate blends. My wife would be very fond if I smoked cherry blends because her grandfather was a pipe smoker and he smoked a lot of cherry blends. In fact, time for a different story altogether one of these days, but I'm going to tell you the time we went to St. Augustine on a quest of a tobacco shop there to find the right tobaccos to try to blend, so my wife would have a tobacco that smelled similar to what her grandfather smelled or smoked. So hopefully I can replicate that again for her one day, because I have not been able to replicate it. And most of my tobacco she's not crazy about, but she tolerates. I smoke very little in the house. This particular blend, I'm going to get her to chime in right now. Is it good, or just a thumbs up or thumbs down? So this blend you like the smell of. So she likes this particular English blends, the Northwoods and the Frog Morton. So it's one of those I can usually get away with smoking inside. Even though right now, as nice as it is, I'd prefer it out there. I wanted to try the video for inside today, see if we can cut down some of the noise, show a little bit of my pipe collection. These will eventually get moved, as well as my other pipes when the man cave is done. Let's see if we can get a brief. Yes, over in there are more pipes. You will see when we record in my living room at least a lot of dogs or dog-related stuff. So that is going to be it for me today. Please leave your comments. I would love to hear back from you. Please subscribe. Recommend this to friends if you've enjoyed the content and have been enjoying my videos. I hope you've been enjoying my videos. And if so, please subscribe. And please recommend to your friends. Have a great day. And again, this has been Southern Santa Piper.